So, in a previous video, I told you all what I thought about the Electoral College polling that is going on. And I think that that makes a really interesting read for what's going on and what we can expect according to what people say that they're going to do. There is something else that's really interesting, and I think besides just polling lets people say what they believe that they're going to do. There are a bunch of betting sites that are now open, and what's interesting about the betting sites is that people are not betting. They're not betting on what they think that I'm going to do. They know, like, I'm going to vote for Trump or I'm going to vote for Biden. What they're doing is trying to figure out if I were going to wager money, what do I think everybody else is going to do, specifically in individual states to produce an electoral college victory. And so if you go to the homepage for Real Clear Politics, they're going to put these election things here on the side, and you can look at betting odds. And this is really, really interesting because they are recognizing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different betting spreads for international betting sites where people can wager money on who they think is going to win the election. And what's interesting is that Biden averages winning by 21 points, some of these by as much as 25 or as little as 13, but they have Biden winning. And what's interesting here is that people are wagering money about what they think other people will do. And there used to be a book out called The Wisdom of Crowds, and in the book, The Wisdom of Crowds, you take enough people trying to figure out the answer to a problem, and you average out their results, and you can get pretty close to the right answer. And these are people who are wagering money that they believe that they know who's going to win the next election, and they have Trump. They have Trump down by 25 points here, with Biden up by 25. If you look at the dated part of this scale, what's interesting is that things have varied quite a bit here, but pretty stable with Trump ahead. And most conservative people believe that he's ahead, and he's been ahead in those swing states, or he won those swing states. It takes a lot to convince you that he's going to lose. It starts to close a little bit. See, this is all COVID right here, and he's still pretty stable here all through COVID. It's when Black Lives Matter happens that you start to see these things switch all the way to June 1st. And then it continues to break out even further and further apart. And I think that this deals with his drop in support from conservative women in the suburbs. I just don't think they want to raise their kids to be adult racists. And so a lot of Republican women in the suburbs have moved away from the Republican Party right in this point where Black Lives Matter started. They were willing to stay with Trump even through injecting disinfectant stuff that happened here. But if you look at the Black Lives Matter impact on this election, it's had a huge impact. PredictIt is another site that has a place where people can wager or bet what they think is going to happen. If you look at their model, if you go state by state where people are betting per state, they project that Biden will win 334 electoral college votes. And so I think this is super, super interesting about how other people think that other people are going to respond. So these are people who have money, and they're like, I know what I'm going to do or how I'm going to vote. But what's interesting is how other people might vote, and they're projecting what they think is going to happen. And you can look at this state by state and look at the senatorial races as well, and that is also very interesting. I'll put that in a separate video. But if you look at bettors, people who are betting on the election, they're wagering their money on what they believe the outcome is, looking at polls and a bunch of other data they have access to. They have decided very, very recently that they believe that this is going to be a big win for Biden. And that's where the news is currently telling us the information that we can analyze is telling us what's likely to happen.